Okay, so the first semi-final at Euro 2024 has concluded. Spain came from behind to win 2-1 over France. I'm surprised we only had three goals and there weren't more. It was a very, very good game, actually. Considering some of the complaints we've had of this tournament, some of the games being not of the best standard. And France have had their issues scoring goals. They've only scored four goals in the tournament and only one goal from open play, two own goals and a penalty. So France have struggled to score. They've had a very good defensive record, but they have struggled to put the ball in the back of the net. Spain have been brilliant so far in this tournament, absolutely brilliant. Very young team, very exciting team, playing a different style of football than what we're used to with Spain. In fact, France had more players from Barcelona and Real Madrid than Spain did, which tells you a lot about the direction and the philosophy that this Spain setup currently has. Now, the game itself, I think Mbappe's had one of his better games in the tournament. I think Dembele's had one of his better games in the tournament. And not starting Griezmann, for me, was a bit of a surprise from Didier Deschamps, and he does get regularly criticised for some of his selections, some of his tactics, and the style of play that France play. It's very effective, mind. They've done very well under Didier Deschamps over many, many years since he took over. But the game itself, France started the game better. Spain the two goals from Spain are ridiculous. The equaliser is possibly one of the most important goals of all time because of the player who scores it. The winning goal, the skill to create the goal is something else. But yeah, it finished 2-1. So Kolo Muani scores the opening goal, and there's that combination with Dembele and Mbappe to create it. The crossfield pass from Dembele is brilliant to find Mbappe. Mbappe's cross to find Muani is brilliant. Muani it's a very good header. It's a very, very good header. It's France's first opportunity on goal, and they score. And that's something they've struggled to do this tournament. Now, Jesus Navas, who's a winger, who's 30, is he 38? 37, 38 years old, playing at right back. Carvajal's obviously suspended for the game. He struggled. And you could see he was struggling. Now, he's already been booked at this point in the game very, very early on. It gives Mbappe far too much space, which allows Mbappe to get his secondary cross into the box. He had a torrid first half, very, very torrid first half. Mbappe was having a lot of joy with Hernandez as the wing back, causing a lot of problems there. It's a deserved French lead. It is a deserved French lead. But Lamine Yamal's equaliser is, I think, one of the most important goals of all time. He's not even 17 yet. He's still 16 years old. That goal is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. There is no other way to describe it. From distance, it is possibly one of the best goals of the tournament. How much space do you want? It's an individual goal where he picks it up. There are players around him. He creates his own space. No one closes him down. He's allowed to go on his stronger left foot, and that is hit with bend, whip, and pace. That's not a hit and hope. That is deliberately aimed for that top corner. It is ridiculous. Words cannot describe how ridiculous that goal was. And he's what? He's not even 17 yet. What was I doing at 17? Oh yeah, I was going to house parties and generally being a bit of a miscreant. This kid, when he's about 25, 30, he will be better than Messi. No doubt. No doubt. Better than some of the other world-class players we've seen over the generations. Better than Pele. Better than Maradona. No doubt in my mind. Better than Van Basten. I could list off superstar players and world-class players from previous teams and previous generations. He's 16, for God's sake. He's younger than Pele was at the World Cup in 1958, scoring a goal like that. Ridiculous. But it's only a few minutes later that Olmo scores his goal. And yeah, there's a bit of a scrappiness in a way, but that control to bring it down, flick it over his shoulder and get a shot away is ridiculous as well. Initially, they gave Koundé the own goal, but it was on target anyway. But that is a massive deflection of Koundé. But Olmo, he's now leading the Golden Boot by virtue of the amount of assists he has. He's only got 3 goals. So it has been one of those tournaments where there's not an out-and-out scorer who's dominating the scoring charts. There's quite a few players on 3 goals. But Olmo that control and that skill just to flick it up, control it, and have a real powerful low shot. Again, that's just two world-class goals, really. And it was a very stretched game. It was very open, but Spain played with a ridiculous intensity in that first half. A lot of pace, a lot of Williams and Yamal are running France ragged. Morata's creating all sorts of problems as a hold-up guy. He's a focal point, dropping deep. And Morata gets criticised for not scoring enough goals and struggling at international level to put the goals in at times. But he creates a very good focal point. Something that Spain haven't had up front for a long time. They played this false 9, false 10 philosophy, lots of passing for passing's sake at times. This new Spain setup, it's all done at speed. They're not afraid to go long. They're not afraid to have players just run with the ball. There's no more of this tiki-taka. No. Death by a thousand cuts. They're willing to charge at you at pace and high press, 4-3-3, 4-4-2, 4-5-1. However they want to set up, they're very, very fluid in their formation. Great fun to see. When they've got the ball, there's none of this tiki-taka. Everything is done with intense purpose and pace. France the same. France were having a lot of joy as well. Both defences were stretched. Rabiot and Kante were looking very, very worn out. They were being run all over the field by Spain, and vice versa. Spain were at times, Cucurella looked a bit exposed and Navas looked exposed in the wing-back positions. There was a lot of space on the field. Half-time comes. Second half, it was all France, really. They've had chance after chance after chance, multiple corners, multiple opportunities. They bring Giroud on at 37. I'm surprised he's still getting selected considering his age, and he's lost that half a yard of pace. Not that he had any pace to begin with, but that completely changes how they approach the game in attack. They move Mbappe to the middle, then back out wide again. And while Mbappe had a better game, still hasn't scored from open play. There's some big superstar players who've really failed for me at this tournament to really show what they're capable of. And some of the lesser-known players or lesser nations have really stepped up a level, and some of the bigger nations, like France, have stuttered. This was France's best performance for me that I've seen at this tournament. I haven't watched every game, but for me this was their best performance. Did that extra time penalty shootout against Portugal, did that have a part to play in the fatigue factor? Even though Spain looked pretty leggy by the end of the game as well, France, they started to look tired. Kante looked tired. Rabiot looked tired. They looked second best in midfield. Now, Yamal's had a pretty good shot in the second half, which is almost a carbon copy replica of his goal in the first half. If that had gone in, we're talking about two superstar, worldy goals. Yeah, I can't see anyone but Spain winning this Euros now, unless they have that lack of experience with some of their younger players. The moment getting to them, I can't see that happening somehow. I don't think Spain will be too frightened by Holland or England with what Holland and England have dished up in the tournament. England have been very, very, like France, stuttering. Holland have been getting better in a sense attacking-wise as the tournament's gone on, but they've also had their issues defensively and also at times looked a bit stop-start and stuttering. That game, for example, against France was terrible that they had in the group stage. Spain look odds-on to win this, and with the way they played tonight, they are more accurate with some of their finishing and create a few more chances, they could score 4 or 5 in the final. They played to their potential. That's what's scary about this Spain side is I think they're not playing at their best. I think they've got more to come, and they're young, they're exciting, and they're playing a different brand of football than what we're used to with Spain. And I think some of these younger players like Williams, like Yamal, not a lot of they've had very short professional careers, not a lot of games so far in their careers. Yamal's only 16, so I think there's a lot more to come from this Spain side, and Carvajal's back in the side from suspension coming up, so they won't have Jesus Navas in a defensive role, and he's there for depth at this point in his career. He did struggle tonight with the pace of the game. It looks like he's gone off with a slight niggle, which is a concern with his age. He's near the end of his career now. France haven't really impressed me. Now, whether Didier Deschamps, carries on as French coach going into the World Cup, we shall wait and see what the French Football Federation come up with there. But French football domestically has got its own problems, as well discussed on this channel. But for me, for now, that is it for this evening. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts on the game in the comments section below. Of course, we've got Holland versus England tomorrow in Dortmund, and that I think could be a fun game. But I think Spain are odds on now to win the tournament. I mean, England or Holland, if they do get through to the final, whoever gets through to the final, are going to have to play the game of their lives to unseat this Spain side. And of course, England, both their knockout games so far have gone to extra time. One of them has gone to penalties. Will that be a factor, considering the game tomorrow and going forward? The Dutch, I'm not overly sold on the Dutch, but on their day they can be brilliant. I mean, imagine if the Dutch get through to the final replay of the 2010 World Cup, which ended up being a very scrappy, niggly game. I mean, could the Dutch win that way? So we'll see what happens in tomorrow's semi-final. But for me for now, thank you very much for watching. I'll have some more content for you guys very, very soon.